Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to a new little show that I've dreamt up. It's called the Overwatcher. This is a news and update show based around the game Overwatch. So I'm going to talk about game updates, things that are happening in the community and all that kind of stuff, because I think it would be a good idea to bring this all together and package it into a nice little video. And it also gives me a good chance to discuss a lot of the topics which I kind of do really want to discuss, and I can actually discuss them if I do it in a kind of news format instead of making individual videos for each kind of issue. Okay, let's jump into this. So the first thing we've got is there are definitely going to be changes to Bastion and Torbjorn, and these are coming pretty much this week, which is really good. Now let me take you to a quote from Jeff Kaplan, who is of course the games director from the official Overwatch forums. "We appreciate your patience with helping us test the balance of the game. We're actively making changes to Bastion and Torbjorn right now. We will push these changes live sometime this week, hopefully. Our goal was to make these heroes more viable in high-end play and less of a threat in low-end play. We obviously failed on the latter and are going to try a few changes over the next few weeks." Now, this is good, and it's good that Blizzard have acknowledged this pretty quick, because we've got a couple of issues with these two heroes. So if we look at Torbjorn first, my main issue with Torbjorn, well, I've actually got two main issues with Torbjorn, but I think the main gripe I've got with him is his turret locks on way too quick, and this stops you from doing tried and tested tactics of peeking around the corner, firing off a shot, peeking back around the corner, firing off a shot. Now, I presume that this happened a hell of a lot during internal game testing at Blizzard, and they thought, you know what, we have to make the turret lock on super fast to prevent that kind of play. Because there are heroes in the game which can negate the turret, so you could be standing behind a Reinhardt shield while you attack the turret, and things like that. I think they were trying to promote that kind of thing, but in actuality what's happening is the turret locks into everybody super quick, and it just starts unloading. People like Tracer or any kind of low hit point heroes get obliterated by the turret. And then it's made even worse by the fact that when you do take the turret out, Torbjorn instantly drops the turret down. So I think the way they could kind of fix this would be, number one, you reduce the lock-on time of the turret, and number two, you have some sort of cooldown on the redeployment of the turret. I think that would fix it. How that would work in the game, I'm not sure. I mean, maybe having the turret not actually fire instantly when it locks into people might make the turret almost useless, and we go back to the old Torbjorn where he was absolutely useless, because Torbjorn was really powerful against new players, but as soon as people worked out how to counter him, Torbjorn became completely non-existent in higher level games. So I can understand why Blizzard have made the changes, but it's also good that they know the changes are not working and they're going to fix them. Now the next one is Bastion. Now Bastion has received a substantial buff, because before the second beta phase, Bastion, he had a shield which regenerated, and he could only, I don't know what the degree was, but he could basically fire in front of him. He definitely couldn't turn 360. He can now turn 360. He also has no shield, and he can rapidly repair himself much quicker than he could before. Because he's got no shield, this has been bumped up by giving him a shed load more armor, which makes him way more durable. Bastion does, though, quite interestingly, have a weak point on the back of him. So if you get to attack this, in theory, you should kill Bastion. However, in practice, you don't kill Bastion. If you jump Bastion, so you get him completely by surprise, you're right behind him, and you start firing into his weak spot, he'll just turn around and kill you. And that's how Bastion goes. I mean, Bastion can kill D.Va. I've jumped Bastion as D.Va, and he's just turned around and killed me. He kills Winston. He kills Roadhog. Although with Roadhog, you can hook. You can use the hook, and that does take Bastion out of turret mode. And that's probably the best counter I've got to Bastion right now. But yeah, I think he needs to take way more damage when he gets shot from behind. I don't really want to see them mess with his 360 degree of movement, because I like that. That makes him usable. And I like the fact he can repair himself, and I think his damage is okay. I just think he's got too much survivability. But it's great to see that they're actually going to change this. And it's also great to see the speed at which Jeff in particular replies to all of these posts. It's great. It's good to have this transparency. The good news is they're also hoping to get ranked play into the beta, which is great because the game really does need ranked play. We all knew ranked play was coming, but we need to see we have to have some form of progression beyond the level system and beyond, like, you know, public games, because essentially what we've got at the moment in the beta is we are playing, to make a loose comparison to, let's say, League of Legends, we're playing unranked games just with a hidden MMR, which is fine, but we need the ranked system, and it's good that they're actually going to put this in. Now, this news was brought to us by PC Games N, and again, it was Jeff Kaplan who was giving an interview to them at the time, and this is what he said. "We're working on ranked as we speak. The big question that I'm unable to answer at this point is, will it make it for launch or not? We're hoping to get some version of it into the beta. That's my biggest hope. If it doesn't make it into the beta and make it into launch, I strongly believe that kind of doesn't make sense. And make it into launch, okay, I strongly believe it will be very soon after launch. We absolutely believe in it, and it is something that's getting a lot of our attention right now. So they know ranked is a big deal. It will be a massive deal, and it's what's going to keep people coming back to the game. I hope that what they actually add into the beta is enough of a system for us to see where they're going. I presume it will be. I will be disappointed if we don't have ranked play in at launch, but I think, you know what, actually not having ranked play in at launch, maybe if it was not there for a couple of weeks, would allow people who have not had the hundreds and hundreds of hours of gameplay in all the various beats leading up to launch, like me, to have more of a, I don't know, a competitive environment with people that haven't played that, because they're going to be able to catch up. You see what I'm saying? So, I don't know. But yeah, I would like ranked as soon as the game launched. That would be beautiful. Now, I'm sure by this point, everybody's seen all of the pretty ridiculous skins that are in the game right now, especially the legendary skins. These are the yellow skins, if you'd like to call them that, instead of the purple, which are the epic skins. These are the ones that totally change the characters and give them a completely different aesthetic. So May, for example, comes to mind, where she suddenly looks like a firewoman, which looks ridiculous. You've got Hanzo, who is now a wolf man from God knows where. In fact, he looks like a space wolf from Warhammer. And then you've got all the other various skins that look ridiculous, like Mercy's skins look great. Some of Winston's look awesome as well. They are actually going to add more of these skins in. And we've got a quote again from Jeff. He seems to be all over the forums, which is great. Like I said, I mean, he is the game director, and it's good to see that he actually does come out and update people on the forums pretty much all the time, which is great for something like this show, because it means I've got a load of content and a load of stuff to comment on. And we can clearly see that what they're working on, because they state, okay, we're doing this is going to happen, and that's great. So Jeff, on the topic of the skins, he keeps it pretty brief, but he says, I think a few new skins should show up in March, and some in April. Don't forget though, progression will be reset at some point, so please don't get too attached. Which is good advice, because just spend all of your credits that you pick up in the game straight away. It doesn't really matter about keeping them, because it's going to get reset. Same for all of your stats as well, so now's a good time to try crazy tactics and just not have very good stats. That's my excuse anyway. Now, on the 16th of February, a pretty mysterious patch dropped. It was around 800 meg. It was just under a gig in size, and there was no patch notes, so we didn't actually know what this was. After a bit of rummaging around on the internet, it turns out that what this was Lijiang Tower got basically, well, not redesigned, but it had elements of it changed, and I believe that resulted in the entire map having to have been downloaded again by everybody in the beta, which would account for the size of the update. And this has added various fixes to various exploits. Now, Reddit user Nimerax, I hope I've pronounced that right, actually broke down some of these changes in a pretty good post on Reddit, and you can see the pictures now. These basically show places where an invisible barrier was added to stop Torbjorn's turret exploit, where he could actually deploy the turret in the wall so it couldn't be attacked, but it could kill you, which is pretty bad. Various ledges you can't jump to. You can't use Reaper's teleport ability now to teleport out of the map, which, well, you could teleport out into the skybox, which is pretty ridiculous. And other walls have been added to stop various things like Pharah's ultimate and stuff like that. So it's good to see that they've changed the map pretty quick. It's often been the case when new maps have been added that they are pretty broke in a lot of ways. There still is the Tracer exploit, which they haven't fixed yet, where Tracer can jump out of the spawn and rush up the map. It doesn't really help her too much on the control mode maps, because you've got 30 seconds after the dropship doors open to actually get to the point, so Tracer can't really do all that much, but still, it's not very nice just suddenly seeing a Tracer. That absolutely kills you when you think you should be safe. But I'm sure that'll get fixed as well. Oh, play of the game. How we love sitting there and watching Torbjorn's turret kill everyone. Well, we don't even get to watch the turret kill people, do we? We just get to see Torbjorn's dead body while the turret kills everybody, and Torbjorn gets play of the game. Pretty terrible. I think as well, the play of the game system is... Oh, it rewards the 3 quick kills, so you get the old Widowmaker 3-click wonder. Click, click, click. Oh, play of the game. If you get 3 quick kills, you've pretty much won play of the game. Or unless you're Zenyatta and you press Q, in which case you get play of the game. There's a lot of very similar play of the games which happen all of the time. Admittedly, there's been some good ones I've seen around on the internet. Things involving Lucio's right-click ability, where he's booming people off ledges but taking out like the whole team. I think Farah's done it as well with her E ability where she can knock people back with her concussion rocket. It's pretty ridiculous. They are actually plays of the game. However, Jeff is back again and he does say, our plans before launch include play of the game polish pass. We want to make improvements to how it chooses which play is most worthy. This is on our list. Yes, they really need to do this because you can... I mean, if you wanted to get play of the game... I mean, play of the game doesn't really mean anything at the moment because it's just who does the most damage or who gets the most kill. It's not the most damage even. It's who gets the fastest kills, number of kills in quick succession, or heals an extraordinate amount of HP and then is involved in subsequent assists as a result of the heals. Which is why Zenyatta gets it quite a lot with his Q because it's a massive AoE super heal. Reaper gets it a lot with his Q, where he just drops down and basically kills everybody if they're close together. So yeah, it gets a bit boring. There are heroes you can play if you want to get it over and over again. There are some legitimate ones which you do see, but the system is a bit flawed at the moment. But I can only imagine that this is a horrendously complicated thing to actually make. I mean, how do you write an algorithm which differentiates between what is and what isn't play of the game if it's not just based off really basic things, which it is at the moment, like i.e. I have killed 3 guys within 10 seconds or whatever, well, within 5 seconds, award play of the game unless somebody does it quicker. So yeah, it would be nice to have more information on how this is allocated currently, but if it's going to change, I don't really care, but it really does need to change. And again, it's good that they're going to change this. I can't wait to see how this ends up because it would be nice to actually get plays of the game for plays of the game. But again, I think this will be pretty difficult to implement. I mean, examples like, we all know, like if you played Reinhardt, okay, maybe you force the enemy team away from a point long enough for your team to actually become entrenched on that point, and then that wins the game. That would be play of the game. A lot of the players would agree in that game that's play of the game. The game is never really going to know, and how they can actually make the game pick up on that, I don't know. And this kind of does tie into support, both in the form of tanks and healers. They need a bit more recognition because they do win the games. DPS is fine, but it's arguably quite a lot easier to give play of the game to DPS because they kill, like I said, 3 people in quick succession. There you go. Much harder to work out if what Reinhardt has just done has actually won the game. So yeah, be interesting to see where this goes. Now I would like to highlight a absolutely ridiculous infographic my chum, one that's not his name, one amongst many, that's his name, has made. And this is great if you are really new to the game and you want to see kind of who counters who. Sure, you could argue and say, well, I don't agree with this, I don't agree with that, if you're a super player with hundreds of hours of experience. But this infographic is absolutely fantastic if you have no idea what you're doing. So if you want to play Tracer, but you've got no idea what you should be doing with Tracer, then it gives you a quick and brief explanation as to, hey, Tracer's pretty good with a Q. She can take out static turrets. She can drop it on tanks. Tracer needs to keep moving. You know, you don't want to stay still as Tracer. Who counters Tracer? Well, you want to be careful of this hero. And who counters that hero? It's really good for that, or to give a basic idea of that. But I suggest you check this out, even if you've played the game for God knows how many hours already. Do check it out because it is a good overview of the heroes and who works well against certain heroes and what certain heroes are good for as well. So top work there, my man. Beautiful stuff. And also you should check out his YouTube channel as well, which I've put on the screen, and follow him on Twitter as well because he is a really good Overwatch content creator, and I think he does deserve more views on his stuff because it's great. I like watching his stuff. Awesome. And I think we'll end the inaugural episode of this Overwatch news show, The Overwatcher, because it sounds like a fancy newspaper, you know, like The Independent. Is that a fancy newspaper? I don't know, but it's the New York Times. Yes. With a cosplay feature, because I tell you what, I am not the biggest fan of cosplay, and I don't like, you know, I'd see bits of cosplay around and whatever. Some of the stuff though for Overwatch is pretty ridiculous. I mean, there's a lot of events go on all over the place, all over the world, and people love to dress up as their favourite game characters. Blizzard have made 21... Is it 21 heroes in Overwatch? I think it is. Blizzard have made the heroes in Overwatch very recognisable, and they're very distinctive. They're ideal for cosplay. And in fact, there is a cosplay resource on Blizzard's website where you can go in and check out, download all the different like schematics and stuff to see what colours would work and, you know, all of that stuff. But yeah, this is ridiculous. This is from Bamsy Cos, at Bamsy Cos on Twitter, by the way, and her chum Bex cosplaying as Tracer and Diva, and they look really high quality. I believe the or some, or maybe even all of the costumes were made by, I'm going to totally butcher this, but Della Cosa Costumes. Again, you can see his Twitter address on the screen. Go over there and check it out. Pretty ridiculous stuff. And this was taken at KatsuCon, which is an event which was held in the US, I do believe. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. This has been the first episode of what could potentially be a series I run on the channel, because I really enjoy reading up on all of the news and getting involved in the community with Overwatch. And why not turn that into a video? Why not? It's an ideal platform for me to discuss changes, discuss updates, discuss things going on in the community. In fact, actually, I say that's the end of it. That is not the end of it, because in true professional style, I've actually forgot a bit of news, which was a esports event which is going down. Gosu Gamers are holding a $500 prize pool Overwatch tournament this Sunday at 6 PM CET, so that's Central European Time, which they reckon the finals are going to go in at about 18:15, so about 6:05 CET, and it's played on the European server. So this should be a good watch if you want to see the fledgling esports scene start with Overwatch. Obviously, it's European teams and such that are involved in it. All the details are on the screen right now, so do pay attention to that. And yeah, so as I was saying, this is the first episode of the potentially a new show I could do. I've got a couple of ideas for some new features that I might want to do in this, but I'd like to see some feedback in the comments below. What do you think about this? Do you think this is a good idea? Do you think we even need this? You know, just give me some feedback, guys, because when I come up with new ideas, it is nice to actually get feedback from you guys who watch the videos. And yeah, all right, guys, I'll leave it at that. So I've been Silosa, this is Unit Lost, and this has been The Overwatcher, which is, of course, our brand new Overwatch news and update show. You can follow me on Twitter, which is @UnitLostGaming, and I'll catch you next time, people. Toodaloo.